I don't know why this slide is behind me. It's from the class of the Bounding of Isaac. It's stuck there, I don't know why. It's anyhow, let's move on. So today we continue our class about justice, Jacob pursuing justice. So when Noah struggled against the rampant bloodshed of his time, he also not only struggled, but he also added a new aspect of bloodshed, the aspect of cruelty and evilness of the human heart, which is so much to be fearful of. And to enforce mankind's struggle against bloodshed, which, to remind us, is the third commandment given to Adam in Eden. So Noah also entered the Rainbow Covenant, under which we still live. And in the covenant, God spelled out all the law of bloodshed, as you remember, in detail. Something that was lacking before Noah. Something that Adam and Eve and even Enosh did not know, the bloodshed law in detail. Now, in addition to give us the law, Noah also received a new commandment, the seventh, one above Adam 6. And the seventh prohibits the consumption of blood and the limb from an animal which is still alive. This new commandment, of course, has no meaning if we don't see it on the background of bloodshed. And it enforces mankind's struggle against bloodshed, which is Adam third. So Noah seventh had Adam third. And it enhances our struggle. If we keep the commandment, it supports our struggle against the evilness of the human heart. Now, similarly like that, when Abraham fought against theft, which was a major sin of his generation, big time, organized theft, he not only fought against it, but he also shed a new light of it, something that was unknown before him to his predecessor, to Noah. In Abraham's eyes, theft is prohibited, not only because it is a law between man and man, or because God gave it to Adam in Eden as the third commandment, but also because of a new idea, the theft violating God's command ownership of everything. If you steal something, you steal something from God. Abraham even called God by the new name, Adonai, my owner, who owns the heaven and earth, including me. Hence he said, I can be a slave to no one, but to God, Adonai. And moreover, to enforce the new posture of Abraham against theft, Abraham received from God a new commandment, circumcision, which is the emblem of our master in our flesh. So he introduced a new shed, new meaning for that. Stealing is a violation of God's ownership. And to enforce it, he also added a new commandment, like Noah added the seventh, here Abraham added the eighth, which is the emblem of our master in our flesh. Moreover, in addition, Hashem also changed Abraham's name from Abraham to Abraham, enforcing his posture. Thus, Abraham eighth came to enforce man's struggle against theft, which is number 3, which is Adam number 4. Now, we are right to ask, in the same token, when Jacob struggled against injustice and civil order, which is Adam number 5 now, does Jacob also add a new aspect of justice, as his predecessor did before him, to theft and bloodshed? Does he add a new meaning to it? Does he also get a new name? Does he also call God by a new name? Does he also receive a new commandment to enforce our stand against injustice? So in the same formula that Abraham and Noah done before him. So we need to find out if this is true. If Jacob too would give a new shade to injustice, to justice, and get a new name and call God a new name and receive a new commandment. So what did his generation know about justice? We discussed it last time. We saw that, we learned actually that Jacob was born into a world, we said, that perceived justice as getting even. Take what is yours, even by cheating, if necessary. Act like Elohim, measure for measure. If people cheat you, cheat them back. If they hurt you, hurt them back. Acting along those lines, Jacob received his justice, and he became the firstborn son of the family. But for that, he took advantage of his brother's hunger. Then he disguised himself as Esau and cheated his father. So he acted measure for measure, but he took justice on his own hand. So he received his justice, but with enormous price. This cost him a lot, because Esau it was so humiliating. He never consented to Jacob and even planned to kill him. So where there is a justice, if you seek justice, only justice, there is no peace, the Rabbi observed. So much that he had to flee from his home away to Lavan in Haran for his life. His brother wanted to kill him. Now, let's focus now on the second episode of Jacob's life history, on the later dream. So let's focus on that for a minute. We see him now as the Parsha starts. We see him running away for his life, reaching the place. The place is repeated 3 times before the dream and 3 times after the dream, the place, which is Mount Moriah. The sun goes down and he feels desolated, poor, and hungry. Tradition says that he has been robbed earlier in the day by Esau's son, Eliphaz, who didn't kill him, but left him almost barefoot. So he had no more resources and no one to turn to for help. It's now dark, and he lies on a bare ground, using hard stone of Mount Moriah as his cushion. He remembers, as he lies down, he remembers his grandfather Abraham, tavern and kitchen and hotels that he used to build on crossroads to care for the poor for free. How happy he would have been to have such a kitchen or hotel nearby, he thought to himself. How happy I would be if I could see Abraham walk around me. Lying on the bare ground, he could now identify for the first time maybe in his life with all the poor people in the world, hungry and desolated, with all the unfortunate souls whose turbulent life has thrown them to the ditches, with all those who are robbed and mistreated either by family or by society. Then he falls asleep. And in his despair, during the sleep, he dreamed a dream, the letter dream, which would become the most famous dream in history. In the dream, you see a letter, its foot on the ground, and its head reaching the sky. And he sees the angel of Elohim, it says, mentioned here 5 times in a dream, ascend and descend on the letter. And he also sees Hashem, Yud-Heh, Vav, HVH, standing on it, on the letter, above the letter on top. Still in his dream, Hashem, from above the letter, speaks to him, and he promises him to take care of him, guard him on his way, and bring him back home. Hashem also promises him that the land on which he is lying would belong to him and to his children forever, and that his children would be so numerous that they would spread to the 4 corners of the earth. I have the text, but I don't think we need to read it. If you know the text, you can see it. Now, in a dream, the word "the place," as I said, is repeated symmetrically, 3 times before the letter and 3 times after the letter, as if it served as a base for the letter. 3 before and 3 after. In fact, it's so much the Rabbi paid attention to it that the verse "the place" has become in the Talmud the nickname for Mount Moriah. Let's go to the place. It means let's go to Mount Moriah. Even Hashem itself is sometimes called a makom, the place. From here, from Jacob's dream. Also, the dream mentioned the angel of Elohim 5 times, ascending and descending on it. Who are those angels of Elohim? There are, of course, many numerous interpretations. Here we are going to follow the book of Zohar, which says that the angel of Elohim represent the 70 families of Noahide nations. And the letter stairs represent Noah's commandment. Each stair stands for 1 commandment. The angel of the nation, therefore, ascend and descend on the letter according to how many commandments their nation observe. For instance, an angel of Egypt, the Zohar says, stood at the very bottom of the letter because they kept no commandment. Other nations stand higher, and they go up and down according to how much of commandment they manage to observe. And then on the top of the letter, above the 5th, so each stair represent 1 commandment. Since there are 5 times name of Elohim, angel of Elohim is mentioned, there are 5 stairs. So the top of the stair is number 5, which stands for justice and civil order. And on top of it is Hashem standing, Yud-Heh. So each stair represents 1 commandment. And since there are 5 stairs, 5 stairs because 5 times the angel of Elohim are mentioned. So if 5 stairs comes to 5 commandments, which means that at that point, no nation observed more than 5. And on top of that, Elohim, Hashem is standing. Let's see the structure of the stair. Let me. I can give you the slide. I try. It's upside down or straight?
It's straight.
It's straight, okay. So you see there are 5, the letter, this is just a depiction of what he saw in a text, what is written in the text. So at the bottom there are three times the name place appear, the place, before and after the dream. There are 5 stairs on the letter of Elohim, angel of Elohim are mentioned, and YHVH stand on top of it. And Hashem speaks to Jacob from above the stair, the letter, and since it's number 5 there on top, and 5 happen to be Adam commandment number 5, which is justice and civil order. So that's the structure of the dream that we can imagine here. Do you see me straight or upside down?
You're kind of sideways right now.
Right now, I don't know. Can I change it? Let me try.
There, you're straight now.
But I'm straight, but it's vertical. It's not horizontal. I don't mind being vertical. Okay, let's keep it this way. Support the camera. Okay, good. So we saw the structure of the text. Letter 5 with 5 stairs. Now, the angel of the nation ascended the sin of it, according to how many commandments they observe, and on top of it, Hashem is standing, speaking to Jacob. In the dream, Hashem stood on it, on the letter, over and above the number 5. And so number 5, the whole letter are 5 commandments of Elohim. That's why I put it in red. And YHVH on top of it, presenting mercy and compassion, which is above the law. So here is mercy and compassion above the civil order and justice. So, and Hashem promising what we just recited. Now Jacob wakes up and says, surely Hashem is present in this place, and I didn't know. And he became frightened and said, how awesome is this place? The word the place will repeat 3 times. This is none other than the house of Elohim, and this is the gate of heavens. In the morning, he wakes up realizing that his vision was just a dream, perhaps a reflection of what was on his heart. What is a dream if not a reflection of what is in our mind? He could trust the dream, but he wished and prayed that this dream will be true, will be fulfilled. He therefore takes the stone on which he slept and erects it as a pillar and pours oil on it, and he makes a vow, a pledge. So important, the rabbi said, that the structure of this vow would become the prototype of all vows after him. A famous statement, if everyone make a vow, is always should think about Jacob. So let's pay attention to the structure of Jacob, not only of the letter, but the vow. Now, in the vow, let's focus now on the vow. He says, Elohim will be with me and guard me on his way that I'm going, will guard me on his way that I'm and give me bread to eat and clothes to wear. And I return peace to my father's house. He repeats what Hashem said to him. If this will be fulfilled, now, he says, Hashem will be Elohim to me, and the stone that I have set up as a pillar shall become the house of Elohim, and whatever you will give me, I shall repeatedly tithe it to you. So you see in a vow structure that it has two parts. Part A contains the petition, the prayer, or the condition that Jacob hopes that will happen or to be fulfilled before his pledge will take an effect. That's the nature of a vow. If this and this will happen, then I'll do something. So the first part A, is what he hopes to be fulfilled. It's a form of prayer or request or petition to God. In that part, he expressed what he wants to happen. Part B, which follows, contain what Jacob pledged to do in case that the petition be fulfilled. That's called petition. That's part B. Let's focus on that. The first part A is what self-understood. He just wishes that a dream will be fulfilled. So when he comes back, he says, I pledge to do now, and he gives the pledge. He says, let's focus on it. And pledge is very important. He said, line number 1, Hashem will be my Elohim. To see what does it mean? And that stone that I have set up as a pillar shall be the house of Elohim, and whatever you will give me, I will repeatedly tie to you. So the rest of most of the pledge is very simple. You give me bread and food and shelter, and I will give you donations, and I build a house for your name, so on. But let's focus on line number 1. He says, if this and this will happen, then number 9 says, the first line says, then I pledge that Hashem will be my Elohim. What kind of pledge is that? Certainly it doesn't refer to any tangible thing. He said, Hashem will be my Elohim. Now, if you translate to English, he said, the Lord will be my God. You may say, oh gosh, you may wonder, what does it mean? Is Elohim, is God not his Elohim now? Hashem is not his God? You wait to return, then he will accept God accept Hashem as a God? Of course not. And many ask this question about Banel, for instance. So but if you stick to the Hebrew and to the Hebrew names, it receives a profound meaning. It says, you can understand the pledge. It says, if this will happen to me, then the merciful attribute Hashem shall be my judge Elohim. Now it means then I will turn your mercy, Hashem, into Elohim law. He said, if this happened to me, I will make you, Hashem, Elohim, my laws, my law on the land. Jacob was saying like this, in other words, if the dream come true, and you have given me food to eat, water to drink, room to sleep, as you have promised, and as Abraham did to other people in your name, voluntarily out of love to you, then when I return home in peace, I shall turn your ways, and Abraham's ways, into the law of my land. I shall teach my children to be sensitive to the cry of the poor, of the desolate and the hungry and the oppressed. I shall teach my children to treat all people with respect, and they will teach them to take your compassion, mercy, and forgiveness as a basic law of my land. You can, if you look at the diagram that we just saw of the letter, Hashem is standing on top of the letter. So as if he's saying, remember number 5 on top is justice, and is Adam, justice and civil order. He says, if I come back, I will not allow you, I will not let you, Hashem, stand on top of the letter. I will draw you into the letter. I will draw you into the 5th stair on top, into civil order and justice, and introduce your mercy into the court system, into the market, into the home, into the street, into making my civilization filled with your name, but no other civilization would ever do. Again, I will draw you into the letter, so to speak, into the top of the letter, number 5 especially, happen to be on top, which may stand for civil order and justice. I will teach I will make your input, your way of mercy into the way we seek justice, into the way we seek the court verdict, and into the way we treat each other in a market and in a home. That's what he is pledging. So, what does it mean? It means that because of Jacob's pledge, the Torah law contains law of social justice that's unlike any other laws of justice in the world, because it allows mercy and compassion introduced into the system of justice. And there is no other system in the world, not Napoleonic, and not English, and not even an American. As we said last week, all those systems allow justice, mercy, but above the law, as an act of good heart, or the court of equity, as we said, man can apply above the law. Or let's say the president once in a year can pardon certain people, but never as part of the court discussion in the regular court. You don't hear the judge talking about mercy and compassion. He is appointed to execute the law as written. Here, Jacob pledged that in his land, when he comes back to his land of Israel, he will teach his children to introduce mercy into the court decision, into the market, into the way we treat each other, and to make it a law of the land. I give you an example. The Torah law obliged the owner of a field in the land of Israel to leave a whole corner of the field each year for a corner full of uncut wheat for the poor. This law does not depend on the owner's good heart. It is a law of the land, enforced by the court. You can get lashes if you don't leave it. There is no such thing in the entire world. Another example, the Torah law, because of Jacob's pledge, obliged the owner of the field in the land of Israel only to donate once every 3 years entire 1/10 of the crop to the poor. 1/10 of the whole crop, you donate it to the poor. And it does not depend on your good heart. If you don't ask if you want to do it or not. That's the law of the land, enforced by the court. You get lashes if you don't comply. Another example, the Torah law obliged the owner of the field in the land of Israel to abandon once every 7 years the entire crop of wheat and fruit on a field for the poor. Who heard such a thing? And you don't do it because of you have a good heart or because of your consciousness. It is a law of the land. And the same token, you can go on and on. The Torah law obliged every owner of a slave not only to treat the slave mercifully and with dignity, but also to send it free every 6 years. Who heard such a thing? And I don't ask you if you want to do it or not. The slave goes free. You know that under Jacob pledge, the slave, you should be treated so in such a dignity, you cannot even ask the slave to take the towel after you to the bathroom because it's undignified to him. There is no such slave in the whole world. And the Torah law, another famous example, the Torah law obliges us to return for a poor man coat, a coat that was taken as a collateral for a loan. You need to return it at night to the poor man if that's the only way he can get warm. No such law exists. And that's just a metaphor, because you need to help the poor man as much as you can. Not only a coat, but with food and other things. And to provide him a loan, for instance. Not just to give him charity, but to give him a loan so he can recuperate himself, start a business, and become a functional member of society with dignity. There are those and many other such law lay out what Jacob sees as a social justice and civil order that is unparalleled in the entire world. He introduces Hashem into our concept of justice, into our society. And for instance, it doesn't allow us to take any disadvantage of the poor, weak, and widows and orphans, as the prophet of Israel shouted day and night. But let's remember, as Jacob replied in his vow or pledge, those laws of the land, as they are called, are so unusual and so exceptional that they are effective only inside the land of Israel, and only while the temple stands, and only when the Shekhinah is in the temple. Otherwise, if the Shekhinah is not down to the stair number 5, so when Shekhinah goes down in his dream to enter number 5, it means she enters our market, our home. But to do that, she needs a temple. She needs a temple to stand. That's why Jacob also pledged to build the temple here. So if the temple is destroyed and the Shekhinah has departed, those laws are ineffective from the Torah perspective. Yes, we keep them, even today in the land of Israel, but only on rabbinical level, not on the Torah level. So remember, it's not just the land, it's also the market and also the court. The court judging the case should also engage or entertain mercy and forgiveness and compassion while they are debating the case in the court, which is unheard of any other law system. So this is what we can say, this is what Jacob now introduced to the concept of justice that his predecessor didn't know. So we got an idea now what is a new thing that Jacob introduced. Now, the Rambam, I quote for you the Rambam, which of course knows all that, and he divide, I'll show you how he finally divide the Torah law into 3 levels. I'm quoting now the Rambam. Level number 1 of the Torah law is simply justice, mishpat. Those laws are logical. They'll tell you if you owe something, you pay back what you own. You don't need a shame for that. Every nation has it. It's just logical and fair, in the name of fairness, that you pay back what you own. That's called mishpat. So these are logical laws that people conceive all over the world. That's the level number 1, justice, according to the Rambam, mishpat. The second level, what the Rambam calls tzedakah, this is what we are talking about. Those laws that introduced because of Jacob as expression of Hashem, Shekhinah, in our community. And again, those laws like leaving a piece of the land or sabbatical and charity, people don't do it because of their heart or because it's logical. They do it because the Torah commanded. Because Hashem, Jacob pledged to make mercy as a law of the land. So that's called tzedakah. People behave mercifully because the Torah says so. Doesn't depend on your good heart. Tzedakah. Number 3, higher level, according to the Rambam, is what we call chesed. Those things that people do from their own heart, above and beyond even what Jacob dreamed. So if I go out of the way and donate tons of money in philanthropic and I do something unusual, I do chesed, which the Torah even describe it. That's called chesed. So again, the Rambam distinguish here between the 3 levels, mishpat, the lower one, logical, the tzedakah is the middle one, where we do something that's illogical. It's illogical to leave an entire field for a year for the poor. Oh, this is my field. What do you mean? So it's illogical. No nation does it. But you do it because of Torah. because of tzedakah, because of Jacob's pledge here. So that's second level, mishpat, it's right, tzedakah. Number 3 is grace, chesed, which you do above, which you do above and beyond. So you can say originally there was only mishpat and chesed, only number 1, number 3. But here Jacob introduced the middle one, tzedakah, which is Hashem into our life, into our real life, into our community. So this is why the Torah, actually, the Talmud called it Torah, merciful Torah, because whenever, you see the Talmud, whenever it discuss a case which is full of, you need compassion, and you need the understanding of the human heart and dignity, the Talmud says, why, the Rahmana, the merciful one, says such and such thing, and the Talmud take it as a law. It's not act of mercy out of my good heart or anyone's heart. It's a law. It's a Torah Rahmana. Now, beside it, we discussed introducing Hashem into the world. It also changed the way that Jacob would fight justice when Hashem is around him, close to him. Cheating from there on will be, he will never cheat again. He will never use cheating and circumventing as he did before, even to get justice, because Hashem hates liar. Hashem hates the serpent. Lying is the act, is the art of the serpent in Eden. Hashem hates the serpent. And Hashem hates those who lie, even to lie for justice. So from when Jacob comes back home, he will forgo his way of encountering people. He will never try to achieve justice by cheating back, but he will stand face to face with adversary. You see it when he comes back. He meets on the way to the land of Israel after the whole story of Laban. He meets the angel of Esau alone, face to face, and they wrestle all night long. And nobody, Jacob doesn't try to circumvent him, and they say just hit each other with the truth. Each side express his own version of the truth as he see it, and face it, and the other side hear it and express his own idea, and they wrestle all night long. Jacob is hurt. His hip is dislocated. Why? Because Esau, after all, is not just a totally bad guy. He has his own merit and he has his own truth that could hurt Jacob. For instance, the Rabbi said the Esau was a model of treating his father and mother. And when Jacob was making money outside in Laban there, having children and wealth, okay, Esau is the one who took care of his parents while Jacob was not around. He was the Rabbi Gamliel, the head of Sanhedrin, said, I wish I would treat my parent as Esau did. So each one of them had his own merit. And they wrestled all night long, face to face, not trying to circumvent each other or to cheat each other. Finally, they could come to peace, to agreement and peace. So if you forgo your justice, absolute justice, and you open a dialogue face to face, you end up maybe giving up your truth, but you end up with justice, which accommodates the two sides, and peace. And peace is paramount. So that's what So Jacob learned his lesson. He will never cheat and circumvent any other opponent. And he also name now is changed. So he shed a new light of justice. He gets a new name, Israel, which means wrestle with Elohim, with the angel. There are many other meaning of the word Israel, but let's leave it on this level, which fits our story. So he shed a new light of justice. He got a new name. Then he called God a new name. He said that he built an altar and called God, the God of Israel. It's a new name. And because of his hip was dislocated, his son accepted a new commandment, number 9 now, one above Abraham. And the new commandment says that the children of Israel do not eat the sciatic nerve, to remember the dislocation of her father's hip. So again, Jacob feel the same formula as Abraham and Noah before him. He shed a new light, he got a new name, he called God a new name, and he sealed the new aspect with a new commandment, number 9, which enforces man's struggle against injustice, number 5. So if I put a tablet, I can see in Noah 7 support Adam bloodshed third. There is a difference of 4. Noah 7 support Adam third. Abraham 8 support Adam 4. 8 support 4 theft, and number 9, Jacob 9 support Adam 5. We still have one more to go. We still have to get the 10 commandment, which support Adam 6, which is blasphemy. This will be the next step. So you see that basically mankind had the 6th commandment of Adam in Eden, and then our journey on earth, we received commandment one after the other to support Adam 6. And all the commandments, as a rule of thumb, all the commandments that mankind got from God on earth came to support Adam 6, basic Adam 6, to create, as if to create Eden on earth. So Noah got 7, Abraham got 8, Jacob got 9, and Israel on Sinai will got 10, and no more. That's it. So the 10 commandments, that we sealed all the commandments that God ever would give to mankind to enforce our posture to keep the Adam 6. Now, I give you the last point here, which is extremely important. The Ramban, Noahides, writes there the story of Shechem, and Jacob come back to Shechem, the story of Dinah. So the Ramban writes there. So I quote to you, it's incumbent on all the children of Noah to become familiar with the civil law of justice, as written in the Talmud. So, and which should be the base of the yeshiva of Noah for mankind. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe walk along with this Ramban writing, and he said, we are going to teach in the yeshiva of Noah all the law of the Talmud that pertain to justice and civil order, how to behave. That's one of the most important aspects of the Torah. It's also some faith and believing and excitement. It is justice, civil order, civil justice, treating each other fairly, taking care of the poor. We have a long way to go. So this will be the base of Yeshiva Bnei Noach. According to the Ramban, there in the story of Jacob fighting the story of Shechem. But the people of Shechem were guilty because they didn't know that those laws. If they know the law, they wouldn't allow the mayor to abduct Dana. So in order to stop abduction and kidnapping and raping and killing, whatever, Ramban said you need to teach not only the people of Shechem, but all the people in the world. They need to know the justice, the aspect of justice that Jacob now saw in it. And Jacob is, after all, is a Noahide. I stop here, and any question?